Text reads, Telefilm Canada, 2024 to 2025, Annual Public Assembly, pre-recorded, November 26, 2025. Flickering numbers, countdown from 10 to 1, then fade out. Strawberries and bears appear.
The headquarters of Telefilm Canada in Montreal is located on unceded Indigenous lands, historically recognized as a gathering place for several First Nations. We invite you to reflect on the territory you are on and its history. Telefilm honors the land and the ancestors of Indigenous peoples who lived in harmony with it for thousands of years. We also celebrate Indigenous creators whose stories and ambitions enrich the cinematic landscape.
A hummingbird and bear surround the text on screen. Text reads, we asked, Canadian and Indigenous talent, what's the driving force behind our cinema? Subtitle, Chloe Robichaud, when we go abroad, I always get the sense that people admire our cinema, that we have something truly unique, something distinct.
Honestly, Telefilm is such a big part of why Ben and I feel like we want to stay in Canada and make movies here because we're so supported.
Writer-director Clement Virgo speaks on a couch.
Telefilm has been an essential part of the ecosystem that helped to support filmmakers, promote filmmakers.
I really think it's the investment in the talent, giving opportunity especially to BIPOC creatives to tell their own stories.
Two women hug on a bridge.
Indigenous people are at this place now because we fought for it. We never stop believing that our stories are important and that we're the ones to tell them.
Subtitle, Evelyn Brochu, we're so proud of our big-name talents, but we forget that they exist because they were supported. Our existing talent was empowered. Subtitle, Jeanette Petit, from coast to coast, there are extraordinary films, and we should be very proud of that.
Canada is not new to this, we're true to this. You know, we might be underdogs, but not amateurs.
Actor Adrian Walters speaks from the couch.
So as long as we continue to fund those things, I feel like Canada will continue to make its mark and, God willing, another 50 years of beautiful cinema.
The production logo appears for Telefilm Canada. Then the Honourable Stephen Guilbeault, Minister of Canadian Identity and Culture, appears.
Hello everyone. It's wonderful to greet you as part of Telefilm's annual public assembly. Canada's screen industry plays a vital role in telling our stories in a world where we need Canadian voices more than ever. The stories you bring to the screen enrich our culture, forge our identity, and strengthen Canada's cultural sovereignty. Our film industry is also a key economic driver, generating thousands of jobs across the country and supporting innovative, internationally recognized companies. And at the heart of this sector is Telefilm. Earlier this month, our government introduced Budget 2025, which provides unprecedented investments of more than $770 million over 4 years in the arts, culture, and media sectors. This includes funding so that the partners such as Telefilm Canada, the Canada Media Fund, the National Film Board, and the Canada Council for the Arts can continue to showcase our Canadian talent. Our government will always step up to support the growth of our creative industries and ensure that our national cultural institutions remain strong, resilient, and prosperous. When we invest in culture, in our stories, and in our identity, we invest in ourselves. And it builds a strong Canada, the Canada of today and tomorrow. I wish you an excellent annual assembly, marked by your many accomplishments over the past year, and looking forward to what I'm sure will be an exceptional future. Thank you. Merci.
Logos for Canadian Heritage and the Government of Canada appear. Then Sylvain Lafrance, chair of the board, sits on a film set.
Good afternoon, my name is Sylvain Lafrance and I'm chair of the board of Telefilm Canada. Welcome to our annual public meeting. For nearly 60 years, Telefilm mission has been to support Canadian cinema. We do this by supporting creators and forging lasting relationships with our partners in Canada and around the world. As you know, our industry is currently going through a challenging time marked by higher production costs, threats of tariff, issues related to discoverability, and the dominance of streaming platforms. Despite these challenges, Telefilm remains a stable force and sees real opportunities for our film industry during this time of transformation. It was against this backdrop that a year ago, Telefilm began implementing its 3-year strategic plan. This plan allows us to act boldly, consistently, and ambitiously for our industry's future. It strengthens our involvement across all linked in the chain of audiovisual industry activities, from development to production and export, as well as promotion in Canada and abroad. The strategic vision outlined in the plan allows the organization to undertake an ambitious strategic review of its programs. These projects are now well underway. Our Executive Director and CEO, Julie Roy, will share more in a few minutes. It's essential to remember just how important our industry is economically. In 2023-24, audiovisual production in Canada continued to generate a significant amount of economic activity. The industry contributed more than $11 billion in GDP, generated nearly 180,000 jobs, and created more than $9 billion in employment income. In this context, Telefilm is a real financial lever for our national cinema. Did you know that Telefilm's average contribution covers 30% of a film's total Canadian budget, and sometimes it can reach 49%? On the international stage, we also build bridges between Canada and industry partners around the world to open new markets for our creators. The recent federal budget delivered the excellent news that our additional funding has been renewed for the next 3 years. This sends a strong message that underscores the importance of cinema in the audiovisual ecosystem. I would like to express my gratitude to Prime Minister Mark Carney, Minister Stephen Guilbeault, and the Department of Canadian Heritage for their unwavering support of our culture. With this support, we'll be able to continue passionately defending Canadian cinema and our audiovisual industry, which is recognized all around the world for its excellence. We now have the means to continue on our path to maximizing the impact of Canadian and Indigenous cinema in both domestic and international markets. Film is a powerful tool for mutual understanding and social cohesion. Our cinema's diverse voices form a unique mosaic that sets us apart from other countries, enabling our stories to resonate with audiences all around the world. Because a film, above all, is made to be seen, that's why Telefilm is putting audiences front and center as part of its strategic approach. In closing, I would like to thank my colleagues on the board of directors whose expertise and experience enrich each of our decisions. I would also like to recognize Julie Roy for her leadership. Her passion for film is contagious, and it inspires very productive discussions whenever we get together. Julie is also supported by an ardent and committed staff who understand the essential role of governance in public organizations. And finally, thank you to our many partners and the entire audiovisual industry whose excellence is recognized internationally. Now, I'll turn it over to Julie Roy.
Julie Roy, Executive Director and CEO, sits on a director's chair.
Thank you, Sylvain. Hi, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you to Telefilm Canada's annual public assembly. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments section. My team is available to answer them live. As Sylvain Lafrance mentioned just a moment ago, earlier this month, Telefilm and the audiovisual sector had a huge sigh of relief. The renewal of our $150 million in funding for 3 years, starting in fiscal year 26 to 27, is excellent news for Telefilm. However, it is first and foremost an essential lever for the entire Canadian film industry. I would also like to extend my deep gratitude to Minister Stephen Guilbeault for recognizing the economic and creative value of our cinema. The government's recent federal budget announcement came at a critical time. We are grateful for this much-needed predictability. Canada is a thriving audiovisual hub. The film industry accounts for tens of thousands of jobs. It generates significant economic spin-offs for our cities and regions across the country. But let's go beyond the numbers. The heart of our mission is to tell our stories. At Telefilm, above all, we work for our cinema. Film is a universal language, a language that transcends generational, linguistic, cultural, and social boundaries. It shapes our collective imagination and makes us think about ourselves and about the world. We saw a great example of this with director Matthew Rankin's feature, Universal Language. This film's backstory is absolutely fascinating. Although it was shot in Persian and is set in Winnipeg, it could just as easily have taken place in Tehran. In many ways, this film perfectly captures the essence of Canadian culture and identity. Furthermore, the numerous audience awards it has won demonstrates wonderfully that our stories can reach and touch audiences in a universal way. That's why we must provide creators with every opportunity to bring their projects to life. Telling our stories is a way of affirming who we are. Cinema and all that surrounds it is at the heart of what drives me. It's been my passion for 30 years, both personally and professionally. Having produced some 40 films myself, I have enormous respect for everyone who brings our stories to the screen, whether they're in front of the camera or behind it. Because at the beginning of every film project, long before the red carpets are rolled out, there are the creators. The screenwriters who are unsure what direction their story will take, the directors with dreams, the producers who stay the course, and the teams who work behind the scenes night and day to bring ideas to life. Every link in the chain matters, every area of expertise enriches the whole. The synergy found on a film set is also central to our work at Telefilm. And this synergy is also reflected among everyone involved in the audiovisual sector. This rich tapestry of talent and vision, so unique to Canada, inspires our programs and initiatives. Allow me to share a few numbers that illustrate the impact of Telefilm's funding. Over the past year, we've invested in 164 feature films and documentaries. The films we supported generated 95.5% of the box office receipts for Canadian films released in theaters in 2024. The films Nos Belles-Sœurs, 1995, Le Cyclone de Noël, Le Successeur, Berger, La Petite et le Vieux, and Mademoiselle Bottine, alone, generated more than $14.5 million at the box office to date. Other titles have also done very well. For example, Honey Bunch represented us at several festivals and continues to do so. I'm also thinking of Wrong Husband, which won the award for Best Canadian Feature Film at the 2025 Toronto International Film Festival. Last year, the films we supported generated international gross sales of nearly $60 million. That's our industry's best performance since 2018. These results give us reasons to be proud and, above all, to dream big. The sector certainly faces challenges. However, despite everything, we can look to the future with boldness, ambition, and even optimism. In the current context, Telefilm's contribution is essential both to help our films reach ever wider audiences and markets and to strengthen our cultural identity here and abroad. We achieve this using robust strategic levers. The comprehensive review of our program is one of them. This important undertaking allows us to assess their performance and evaluate their success criteria. Our programs are at the core of our commitment to filmmakers. Each program corresponds to a stage in their project's life cycle, from development to promotion. We want our programs to meet their needs, to be effective, and to be consistent across the line. In addition, Telefilm wants to invest in competitive projects that resonate with audiences. Audiences are central to our vision for the future. We have a unique opportunity ahead of us. It's time to seize it. With this in mind, we've created a strategic partnership with the Canada Media Fund, the Indigenous Screen Office, and the National Film Board of Canada to improve our understanding of audiences and how we engage with them. This initiative is based on consultations with our partners across Canada. Together, we are defining the future of distribution and optimizing the reach of our films both domestically and internationally. Another important strategic lever for maximizing the impact of our funding is international co-production. It opens the door to new relationships and larger audiences while attracting foreign partners with larger and more competitive budgets to produce films. Telefilm's international presence is also reflected by our participation in various film markets and festivals around the world. Canada is recognized as an ally of choice in the global film ecosystem. Co-production supported by Telefilm in the last fiscal obtained $83 million in foreign funding. For every dollar of Canadian funding, $1.27 in foreign capital were injected. The animated film Night of the Zoopocalypse is a very good example. This Canada-France-Belgium co-production grossed $1.1 million at the box office in Canada and more than $9 million internationally. Our films also resonate internationally because Canada is an extraordinary cultural and linguistic mosaic. And that's why equity, diversity, and inclusion remain a priority for us. We developed a joint strategy with the Canada Media Fund to promote inclusivity in our industry. We have also signed 2 historic agreements with official language minority communities. And now we are about to launch our 3rd EDI plan, which will include accessibility. The amazing success of the film 40 Acres in the United States, more than a year after its launch at TIFF, perfectly illustrates how our diverse stories give our cinema the ability to truly perform well and reach audiences. To support this growing ambition and in parallel with these major projects, we are deploying an approach for artificial intelligence, which is also proving to be an essential strategic lever. The rollout of AI systems at Telefilm is underway, and we are proud to have a clear position on the use of AI in the projects we fund. Our approach is human-centered, and it focuses on transparency and innovation. Like Canadian cinema itself, Telefilm is committed to strengthening its role as a unifying force that connects talent with audiences, productions with markets, and Canadian films with the rest of the world. To make this happen, Telefilm can rely on the substantial expertise of its internal teams. I would like to thank the entire staff as well as my colleagues on the executive committee for their ongoing commitment. I would also like to thank the filmmakers and craftspeople who bring our industry to life, and thank you to all our partners who advocated for the renewal of our additional funding. In closing, as the holiday season approaches, I invite you to make room for Canadian and Indigenous stories on your screens. Happy viewing!
Tex reads, questions, answers. Julie Roy sits on set, holding a stack of thick cards that read Telefilm Canada.
For those of you joining us live, you can still submit questions in the comment section. Our team is ready to help answer them in real time. So let's get started. Question number 1. How do you ensure regional representation in the projects you fund? Thank you for your question. Regional representation is a key part of our commitment in fostering a diversity of voices across the country. Our decision-making process is designed to support a balanced portfolio, one that reflects a variety of genres, budgets, company sizes, and regions, as well as different perspectives. We work with advisory committees made up of both internal and external industry members who help guide our funding recommendations. We also recognize that not all regions have the same level of industry infrastructure, which is why we take a broader view. We look at the continuum and how each stage of the value chain can support and strengthen the others. With that, last year we launched an Atlantic strategy, and this fall we rolled out the first phase of a Western strategy. Each of these regional strategies are guided by 3 pillars. First, connections and equitable access. Second, competitiveness and data mobilization rooted in regional realities, and third, discoverability and audiences. You can learn more about these strategies on our website. Question number 2. With the growing challenges of the distribution landscape, what are you doing to ensure Canadian cinema is distributed at home and abroad? Well, thank you for raising an important issue. We recognize that distribution challenges are structural and require a collaborative, industry-wide approach. In August, we published a study that emphasizes the need for a holistic strategy focused on audiences. 2 key pillars were identified as essential. Number 1, preparing tomorrow's audience, and number 2, championing Canadian narrative diversity, which is a powerful asset for global export. With these priorities in mind, we are joining forces with the Canada Media Fund, the Indigenous Screen Office, and the National Film Board of Canada to share audience data and insights. Together, we look to modernize our approach to strengthen every stage of our value chain, including distribution, so that Canadian stories reach more audiences. Question number 3. With the news of the 2025 budget, what is Telefilm doing over the next 3 years? First, I want to express our sincere gratitude to the Government of Canada and Minister Stephen Guilbeault for their continued support and recognition of the vital role cinema plays in our society. We are delighted with the announcement of the $150 million investment over the next 3 years. This funding allows Telefilm to maintain the level of support we've been able to provide in recent years. As we move forward, our strategic review of programs will continue. We remain focused on evolving our approach to better serve creators, partners, and audiences across the country. It's important to clarify that this is not a budget increase, but rather a continuation of the enhanced funding we've been operating with over the past several years. We see this continued additional funding as a strong vote of confidence, especially given the current budgetary pressures. With that trust comes responsibility, and we will ensure that we deliver on the commitments made in our strategic plan. To maximize the impact of our investments and actively contribute to the modernization of the sector. I want to take a moment to thank everyone for reaching out. Our team is still available online to answer questions that are coming in. We thank you for your time and have a great day.
Text reads, "Special thanks to the National Film Board of Canada for generously providing its space." Text reads, "Film clips, courtesy of and titles are listed, including 40 Acres, 1995, and Dinner with Friends. A production logo for Telefilm Canada appears."